10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
All systems go.
You're listening to Sudbury News Talk.
I want to show you something.
Stand by.
On the morning shift.
Anything
Could happen.
Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift.
And good morning, everyone. Welcome to Sudbury News Talk on the morning shift. I'm AJ Walsh. I'm glad to be here with you. Very thankful that you are with us this morning on this May the 13th, Tuesday, 2025. Man, the time just seems to roll on. It's pretty crazy. It's time goes by a lot faster these days. I don't know if it's just me or not, but time is definitely flowing like a river, as they say. And we're live on CKLU 96.7 FM, as usual, every weekday morning between 7:30 and 8:30. Sometimes get off to a little bit of a late start due to technology and me. I can't just blame technology. It's me and technology together. However, we're also streaming at cklu.ca. You just click on the Radio Player Canada app and you can stream us. If you download it, you can take us with you and listen to us anytime, anywhere on your favorite device. Also, we're streaming live at facebook.com/Sudbury News, youtube.com/Sudbury News. Make sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow the channel and the page. After the show, the live show, we're also found on demand on those two platforms, along with x.com/Sudbury News and our Sudbury.news website. You just click on the Sudbury News Talk tab and you can watch the show on demand on those four platforms. Also, while you're there, check out all the latest stories at Sudbury.news. It's Sudbury's news aggregator. It aggregates all the local news into one webpage. Simple to find, all in one convenient location, Sudbury.news. And during the show, make sure to comment on YouTube and Facebook. We'll do our best to get your comments up on the screen for those watching, read for those listening. And today we have a special show because we have a special guest host on. Will be joining me right after the weather. It's Miles Shields. He's been on the show before when we used to be Sudbury Sports Talk, along with I believe he was on Sudbury News Talk as well. So welcome back, Miles, and look forward to having him on the show. You'll recognize him as he's commenting pretty much every day anyways, but reached out to me yesterday and said, "Hey, you got anyone on the show?" I said, "No." "Do you want to come on?" He said, "Sure." So instead of commenting, he's going to be live with us. So, and that's something I'd open up to anybody. If you want to come on, we'll just kind of find the right day and you can come on the show. Instead of just texting, you can come on the show live as well. So, and we open it up to anybody in the community who has something that they want to talk about. Reach out to me, email me at sudburynews@gmail.com. Catch me on Messenger at facebook.com/SudburyNews. Just reach out and say, "Hey, I got this thing coming on. Can I come on the show?" And I know there's a couple people where we just hit and miss, aren't able to really get, excuse me, a time nailed down and whatever, especially people when they're new on the show. You got to do like some sound tests and video tests to make sure the software works and stuff. So it's a little bit more involved with someone being on the show for the first time. Now, tomorrow, we're going to have back Tom Price and Bob Johnston. As you know, if you've been following them, they've been on the show a couple times talking about the real costs of the arena, or at least their calculations of what the new arena is going to cost compared to what we're being told, or the official stance from the city as to the costs of the new arena/event center and other things that the city kind of does. I find they're critical of the city, and everybody needs a critic. Every side needs an opposite side. So I have no problem having both on the show, having somebody who's speaking on behalf of the city and then somebody who's maybe a little bit more critical and might point out some things that, people might not have thought about. And I don't think anyone needs to be offended about that. I think it's healthy for a society to be able to have two sides. You don't have to get upset when you hear someone's side. You just have to say your side. And then you allow people to make up their own minds based on what you said. It's a really great, amazing formula for deciding whether making a decision. When you're trying to decide whether to take a job or not, or to move, or to go to a certain school, you take a piece of paper, you put pros on one side, cons on the other. You just draw a line in the middle, and you write all the things that you think are going to be helpful for doing that, making that decision, all the things that could maybe not work out to your benefit on the other side. And it's a lot of times becomes very clear as to what the right answer is. And in this case too, like, again, right? So you want to have two sides. It's always best to have the two sides. So having them on the show, it's not like we are taking a particular side. I just wanted for everyone to know that. It's just, I want to be able to give a voice to critics. I want to be able to give a voice to people that are in the positions making the decisions. And what's wrong with that? Does anyone not agree with that particular way to go about, gathering information about a particular thing? If anyone has, if they don't think that's a very good way to go about looking at, our city, for instance, should we just have the people tell us the way it is and don't question things? Or do you think it's healthy to have people running the city giving us their position on it, and then having people be able to question that? I think they try to set the city up like that in the first place, and they have town council meetings and they invite guests in. They have people that propose. They say they want to make a presentation or whatever to the city on whatever it is, or a certain committee, and I think they go about, the city's set up for that particular type of framework. But you just hear people getting upset about, why do you allow certain people to talk? And it's like, I don't quite agree with that. I think everyone should be able to talk, and if they've broken a law with talking, and then that's where it gets a little bit different, because they should be allowed to say what they want. And if then they've overstepped their bounds, they've broken a law, well, then there's laws there to deal with that. Okay, done with my rant. And I don't want to take up too much time of Miles's time to come on and share some of his points of view on things that have been going on. We're probably going to talk about the election, I'm thinking, things that are going on with that. Some pretty crazy stuff these days. Canada is a very interesting place. So we're going to dive into a little bit of weather. We'll be back with news headlines, your comments, Miles Shields, and more right after this. Okay, Sudbury Weather brought to you by SudburyWeather.ca and Voyager Tire. Currently it's 12 degrees. It's partly cloudy out there, and today we can expect it to be sunny with mild wind, and 28 degrees is our high. Yes, 28 degrees. The UV index, as everybody is wondering about, will be 8, or very high. Tonight, increasing cloudiness, 30% chance of showers or drizzle overnight, then fog patches developing overnight. Low of 15. So it'll be a warm enough night tonight. Wednesday, cloudy, 30% chance of showers or drizzle, changing to 70% chance of showers near noon. Fog patches dissipating in the morning. Mild wind, high of 17 in the morning. Tomorrow, the UV index will be 5. And again, 70% chance of showers or drizzle tomorrow. and high of 17. Then Thursday, 22 degrees, chance of showers would be 30% chance of showers. 17 degrees and showers on Friday. And then a 40% chance of showers on Saturday. Sunday, cloudy. And then a 30% chance of showers on Monday. 17 degrees is your high. So either way, it's going to be a pretty cloudy week with chances of showers varying on whatever day you're looking at. Don't get too depressed, everyone. The sun is behind the clouds. Always remember that. There's a sun that's behind all those clouds, even if it's cloudy. And look at your satellite here. Clouds all to the north of us. Well, that's taken as of 12:30 a.m. Probably changed by now, but that's your Sudbury weather, brought to you by Voyager Tire and SudburyWeather.ca. We'll be back with news headlines, Miles Shields, your comments, and more right after this. Okay, and here we got Miles here, who's going to unmute his mic. He's going to join us. How you doing, Miles?
I'm doing great, thank you. Thanks
Good.
for having me on this morning. Yeah,
No problem. I know you reached out to me, and I thought, well, I wonder if Miles got something to say. He wants to say something, or at least discuss something.
I don't know if I want anything particular. Just wanted to come in and thank you for everything you've done the last few years.
Oh.
And I know my perspective has changed quite a bit as far as news perspective. I was mainly into sports and as far as news for a lot of years, as you got me on for the sports talk we had, and what's changed a lot is I think my perspective on the media mainly in the last 5-6 years, and mainly because of what's gone on in the world, and it's getting plainer and plainer to see where the legacy, so-called legacy or mainstream media is sitting right now. And I've dived into more how do you say, independent streamed media. I also watch the legacy media just to see what they're saying, where the other side is going. And like I say, my perspective changed almost 180 degrees over the last 5 years. I think it's important to know that people need to, because it does affect us in our everyday life as far as, politically, what laws are being made and how it's affecting all of us, and where we're going, and where, all the people in our communities are going. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot more poor I see every day than there was 10 years ago, especially in Sudbury.
So times are changing, and I don't know if they're changing in a positive way. There's a lot of negative. I'm sure there's some positive too, but we do see a lot of negative things. And like you say, it's what's behind that, right? Like, could that have been avoided? Are there decisions that have been made that lead to some of these things that we see, if we call them now crises all the time, the housing crisis, the opioid crisis, mass immigration, things like this. There are policies that have been made that lead to where we're at now, and then the media is the thing that we kind of turn to give us these answers of why that was allowed, or are the people that made these decisions, are they being held accountable, are they being asked these questions so that we can understand why they're making these decisions and hold them to account. And maybe they're done for a good reason, and give them the opportunity to explain to us why they're making these decisions. But without a healthy media to be able to question the people that are in the positions of making these decisions, it's really out of whack. And I like how you said just recently you've noticed this change as you've kind of gotten both perspectives. I started the show talking about getting two perspectives. So you watch mainstream media, you watch independent media. They're both talking about the same thing, the same exact situation, let's say, or a newsworthy story comes out, the mainstream media covers it, and then independent media covers it. And they are different. They have different angles on things. But let's say, do you think if it wasn't for a show like this, or it didn't come to your attention that it's okay to at least listen to the other side, do you think you would still be having the same perspective and not seeing the other side? Do you think you could still be in that boat?
I don't think so. Even if I didn't watch the show, it was pretty noticeable in the like thing brought out the differences was COVID-19. I was noticing a lot of tactics in the media and a lot of unfair practices as far as the mandates and working where I do work, I see a lot more, and so I think that the show helped a lot for sure. This show, but it sure was not from the not only from that, but just everyday living the last 5 years. You noticed a lot of difference.
Oh, for sure. Yes. And again, like, yeah, no, I'm not saying it's because of this show in particular. It's just everybody, something opens our eyes at some point. And for you, it sounded like it was the last 4 years, like the mandates and things like that, and how the media covered it was something that opened your eyes.
And basically, after this last, going through this last election, even coming up to this last election, I think if people didn't notice any changes as what's going on, then they must have been blind, because this last election really drew out the lines of where everybody stands, right? And where the world stands, basically, because Mark Carney, he's coming from the new world perspective. What I mean by new world is all of those things that are trying to be pushed on us as far as climate change and globalist financial, economic, socioeconomic, they're all intertwined. Mark Carney has them all intertwined into one, to me, one big money-making scheme for him and for others as well.
Yeah,
so
he doesn't make any bones about the fact that he's a globalist. He wears it, like
in
proudly.
fact, he said in some of his speeches that we need carbon control in order to be able to trade with other countries, and a lot of things that kind of sets off alarm bells and how we should. Where other capitalist ideas that, like say the United States has, is a little more competitive trade ideas and where the world should be going. So you get those two perspectives on each end, and then you know where everybody stands.
We're gonna Oh, for sure. The world is divided, and you can see there's two main camps in a way. Like there's just two different angles of looking at things, and I want to get into that with you. First of all, I just want to kind of recognize some of the people that are on with us this morning, and we'll get more into the conversation and include them as well. So we got Northern Hillbilly. Good morning. Usually the first person on YouTube in the morning, and good morning. That's Nana. Good morning. Heart emoji, exclamation point. Judy, good morning. Hazel, prayer emoji, much needed. Monique, grand rising, heart emoji. Diane, good morning. Andrew as well. Marianne, good morning from Barrie, liked and shared as usual. Denise, blessings everyone with your smiley emoji. And Belinda always has a thought of the day and sent me a picture this morning of the skies over where she lives. And it looked like there was some very long straight line clouds. You know, that new kind of cloud they got out there, just a long straight line cloud that stays up there and then starts getting wider, and then eventually it's cloudy. That's the clouds picture she sent to me this morning. Good morning. The reason facts don't change most people's opinions is because most people don't use facts to form their opinions. They use their opinions to form their facts. Now, isn't that a great statement, Miles?
Yeah, that's a pretty good statement there, I think.
I don't know where you got that, Belinda, but that's spot
Might
on.
have to interrupt you. I have to leave for a second because
Yeah, you go ahead, Miles.
Some trouble
you-
with some partners I have here at home.
You just let me know when you're back, and we'll be good. We'll just carry on. Thanks. Okay. There's Miles. He's going to be back in a second. At the same time, Denise says they went to confiscate our guns, and I'm seeing in some places military exercises. They call it. I don't buy it. So they call it military exercises. That's just happened in Sudbury a couple days last week. I believe they had some of the reserves marching through the streets in Sudbury, right? Now that has happened from time to time, but today we can get a little bit leery about things as there's some things going on that, we're hearing different reports and stuff coming out of our Secret Service and that saying that there might be a breakdown in Canada that might need military force. And if you haven't heard about that, you can look that up. And, different think tanks and different organizations doing studies about what's going to happen, not looking at our future very positively and what that could look like. And then when you start seeing military exercises in the streets going along with that, you start going, so you question some things. That's what you're referring to. And Shirley, good morning. Wishing everyone a happy, safe day. Many awesome emojis there. Good morning, Shirley. And Liette, good morning, everyone from Collingwood. Hand clap emoji. Larry, the military are practicing to round us up like cattle for the 15-minute cities. See, again, right? There's different theories out there and that sometimes seem very dystopian. They sound, and there's reports out there, like credible reports of organizations doing studies and looking at what the future could look like in some instances, and it doesn't look so great. And yeah, military to be able to keep the peace or whatever, or order as things kind of unravel are part of that, unfortunately. And so Monique, good morning, Sudbury, with a very cool emoji with the shades on. Sylvia, good morning to all. Have a beautiful day. Good morning, Sylvia. Thanks for being on again. Hope you're having a great morning. Larry says they will never get my guns or my ammunition. Hoop your forehead, Mark Carney. There you go. And okay, everybody's pretty outspoken about the gun control that we have in Canada. And again, and good morning, David. Thanks for being on YouTube. So, they go after law-abiding gun owners. That's the thing I don't understand. Whenever there's crimes or gun crime, right away they say we got to have stricter laws on guns. But the crimes that are being done are by people that get their guns illegally anyways, and they don't get their guns legally. So by cracking down on legal gun owners, how does that help the gun crime? Really, that's just been a long-standing debate that I can't believe it's still going on. Nothing wrong with having a contrast of thoughts and opinions, for sure. That's what I was talking about this morning. And by the way, good morning. Yes, Larry, same to you. And Sudbury Steffi, grand rising, everyone. And pretty cool emoji there. I can't really see because it's too small. But anyways, and Miles is back with us now. So welcome back, Miles. Everything's taken care of on your end?
Just averted a crisis between cat and dog. So that's good.
One of our listeners or followers sent me a Gary Gray sent me a really funny Peanuts cartoon on Facebook, and I think it was Lucy, it could have been one of the other characters, brings Snoopy a cat and kind of introduces them and says, okay, I'll leave you guys alone now. And Snoopy's like, what do you say to cats? Because he's a dog, right? Or whatever. So
exactly.
it's just kind of interesting little cartoon this morning. So yeah, some of the people bringing up gun control, and what do you think about that debate, Miles? I thought that debate should have been over a long time ago about how Canada goes about. And good morning, Pierrette,
Yeah,
KPNG.
yeah, I had a different view of it, let's say 7, 8 years ago than I do now. My view was guns are dangerous, and
Hmm.
yeah, as far as weapons should be taken off the street and that sort of thing. But then lately, it was a CBC. Lately, there was a CBC radio interview with a gun owner out west, was it? Yeah, who was a recreational uh, gun enthusiast, I guess, handgun enthusiast,
Mm-hmm.
and his wife died of cancer, and he has her gun saved as a memento. It's kind of like really um, sentimental for him to have her gun, and the government's threatened to take that away from him, right? Because he's just like I say, a handgun. He goes out to a range and he's in competitions and has been for years, eh? And taught his wife how to shoot and go in competitions together, and
So it's a sport
yeah, for
to
the
him
sport of
and
it.
them.
And
Yeah.
it opens your eyes as far as people just don't have guns so to kill things. There's other reasons why they have their guns as well.
Yeah.
So
And
it
yeah.
opens your eyes, and that was a CBC radio interview. So I mean, you hear all kinds of different perspectives sometimes, even from the CBC.
The odd time, I know even a conservative got through to cross country checkup the one day, and I was so surprised. I was like, how did he get through?
Well, he has
The
to act like a liberal first in the screening, and then he
Yeah,
goes on.
that's what he'd have to do because
Yeah,
I'm sure of it. Because
yeah.
if you look at the way Canada's voted, it's pretty
Mm,
split down the center. And in the last two elections before this one, the conservatives actually got the popular vote the last two times other than this one. And
yeah.
pretty much it
And
was,
and
well,
I think I mentioned it before. The demographics came out on the voting, and it was more younger people voting conservative than ever before,
for sure.
and more younger people voted for conservatives than the left or liberal as well.
But
I
yet
think
you
what
wouldn't know that if you were listening to Cross Canada Checkup with Ian Hannah-Mansing.
no,
You'd think everyone's liberal because
well, most we know most call-ins are like 50 years of age and up
yeah,
on the
that's
country
true.
checkup anyway, right?
That's true.
Who's the younger people don't listen to CBC
But
or
even
what?
though the proportion is like 98.5%, total liberal or NDP compared to the 1 to 1.5%
Yeah,
conservative call in, that doesn't represent even that demographic. You know what I mean? So there's something wrong, obviously. Like you began the show talking about, you've noticed the media, the mainstream media, that something's wrong,
yeah,
right? So that's one of the litmus tests on something's wrong when you have a call-in show that's supposed to be open to all Canadians, but
yeah,
yet all you get is one side. And how does that even
yeah,
happen?
yeah. And they tried to. I listened to cross country checkup a lot since Rex Murphy had
Yeah.
cross country checkup. Right, he
Hmm.
was the last pretty well integral journalist they ever had. CBC was Rex Murphy, right?
Oh,
And
I think
so
so. Yeah.
yeah, and the show has changed since then,
Big
and
time.
yeah, and even the questions they ask are kind of trying to lead you to a
Exactly. It's like we're asking people, what's wrong with Donald Trump today? So you
yeah.
can call in and tell they don't say what's
I
wrong.
think one of the questions was, do you think the Conservative Party should change their leader, or some,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? I mean, I can't believe right away the first headline after the day after the election is Polyev in trouble, or
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they're like wolves, right? So if
yeah,
there's blood on the other side, then they go
yeah,
to attack the weakest points, and you can
yeah.
tell.
And they're
I,
saying there's certain amount of infighting, and there was nothing really came out of the conservative camp except support for the leader for Polyev.
exactly. And
Yeah,
then Trevor here saying, now that the election is over, and the Liberals are back in business. How long until the rest of you legally obtained firearms show up on the confiscation list?
Right.
Before or after net zero carbon taxes are maxed out, or maybe after the announcement of possible climate lockdowns?
Yeah. So
Don't
this
shoot
is
the messenger.
This isn't going across the Main Street News, though, but the election isn't over yet.
No,
So
I know.
Notice
It's
there,
not.
there's judges that are doing recounts of anything less than 300 votes.
Yep.
And turning the one in Quebec was I think it was 40 for the bloc before the recount.
I thought it was like 60 or something.
Like 120 towards the Liberal.
Yeah.
And they showed the whole breakdown. They have to, because by law, they do a recount, they have to show the breakdown. They had something like over 700 votes they found that were, what do they call, rejected ballot.
Yeah.
That were voted for the bloc before, but 700 they took right off the bat.
So what happened was, there were some rejected, and then some brand new ballots came out of nowhere too in the count. Like, they must have been lost. Someone must have put them in the back corner.
Now they're starting the same thing in Windsor now. The Windsor recount hasn't been finalized.
And why are they all going Liberal? That's what I want to know. Every recount has to end up in Liberal somehow, or no one smells a fish there?
They're four ridings away from a majority, so that's what they're trying to do.
Well, they're one. So now it's 170 with this one in Quebec. So they're two away.
Two ridings away. So they're looking.
So this one in Windsor, if that goes their way, now they're one seat away.
So the election basically isn't over.
No. I think they're going to have a majority myself, because they're just going to find a way to get it. And all it takes now is one NDP candidate or whatever, MP, to cross the floor and come on board. So if they only need one, and they don't even have official party status, so they're without a lot of perks in Ottawa, these NDP MPs. And so
it's a lot of funny stuff. I'm not going to say it's downright election crooked, because anybody can say it like that. But if you look into what's going on, it's really looking bad as far as our electoral integrity. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, people losing faith in the system just because it's the appearance of evil. It's the appearance of doing wrong. It doesn't have to be that they're actually doing something wrong.
They try and wonder why the West is getting angry. Well, that's one of the big reasons why. Not only just the energy sector, but just the way the electoral process has gone.
Yeah. I just want to say good morning to Evelyn and Brian here on the show. Just as people come on, just usually give morning shout outs. So it sounds like you have a busy household there this morning, Miles. Everything you got sounds like my place.
Yeah. My son had to go to work. Usually he drops off the little one here, and he decided to leave him with me. So
there you go.
I have to bring him to the daycare later.
So you're watching him at the same time as being on the show?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's right here right now beside me. He's kind of interested in what's going on.
I guess so. I would be too.
Yeah.
You never know.
The dog got out of her area that we put her in, and she likes to go and talk to the cats.
Exactly.
And the cats don't have very much friendly things to say to her, so
I guess not. That's funny.
It's a little noisy sometimes.
For sure. So yeah, life is happening all over the place. So it's okay to embrace it for sure.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to end up with a majority. Come, you know what? And
looks that way. Yeah.
Yeah, and it is Liberal appointed judges that are overseeing the processes, and it's again, they're so close now because of whatever. And the fact that Polyev lost his riding due to 91 candidates on the ballot, that should have been illegal.
Well, it wasn't only due to that, though. Like I was saying before, they pushed the boundaries into, because he was in the suburbs only before.
Yeah.
So they pushed the boundaries into Ottawa Center, where the majority of voters are government workers.
You're right.
So 120,000 government workers live in Ottawa Centre.
Yeah.
So half of Ottawa Centre was taken into by his riding.
But couldn't he have done something about that when they were doing it? You know, I mean, couldn't he have made a little bit of a beef?
Electoral reform is something that was passed right off the bat in after the last election, and so that was the NDP and the Liberals. That was one of their things. Of course, there's a couple ridings lost by the Liberals because of electoral reform, because we see it locally in our own area where a Conservative took Mark Serret, Jim Balaji took Mark Serret's riding because they reformed it into Algoma Manitoulin, right?
Well, Sudbury East Manitoulin Nickel Belt is the new official name of it.
Yeah. So it took in Espanola,
Manitoulin,
right up to Blind River, I think it goes. Yeah, and
close.
Down in Manitoulin. Yeah. So it backfired in that one there, but I think they were looking at the overall picture, what they were wanting to get.
Yeah, and but again, it's, you know, there's talking about the media, back to CBC in particular. They're going to get $174 million extra now on top of their $1.4 billion they already get. And the other day we were talking.
I'm sure there's millions going to the other to
CTV.
CTV Global. Yeah,
for sure.
Money's going there too, as there always is anyway.
Definitely. And good morning, Mike. Mike's joining us too, Mike Pradant. So thanks for being on again. And again, welcome on the show anytime, Mike. We're having Tom Price.
Talking about city, I think I've the arena question's always been coming up in the municipal area
for sure.
And I'm interested in that, and it's always been a debate whether they want it downtown or in the outskirts, right? The arena.
That was the original, back in, they had the very kind of divided down the middle.
A lot of them people have been asking for a renovation of the old arena to save money, but I believe they can't do that myself because the arena is too old.
Okay,
I mean, this is the basic structure. The arena's it's just too old. Like your foundation's not the greatest, and when you have a wood foundation, it can't be the greatest after 70 years.
Well, that's the thing. And again, just finish what I was saying to Mike, if he's still listening or whatever. And he's definitely welcome to come on the show. And it would be good to hear the two sides again, because there was some pushback when we had Tom Price and Bob Johnson on talking about their analysis of the cost and everything. And they actually believe the arena should be refurbished. And I guess Tom is an engineer, way up high in Valet and whatever. He was explaining how the foundation actually is secure in the building, that the wood, even though it's wood, when it's in water, oddly enough, it actually doesn't, it actually preserves it. And
as long as the air doesn't get at it,
that's what he was saying. As long as air doesn't get to the wood, it's intact. And he says you can tell that because there's no cracking in the foundation. You can tell if there was something going on, there would be cracks and things, and there's and stuff like that. But anyways,
you could have a point. I was thinking more of renovating, but more of renovating an existing newer facility out in the south end. That's what I was thinking of, Countryside.
So expand on Countryside Arena.
I was thinking of that. Yeah. I think you're putting more good money into a good area and a good. Some people don't like it because it's not downtown, right?
But it's not that far away. I mean, and the
highways are all there.
And the traffic, I mean, it's 4-lane all the way from downtown to the south end, and you got the bypass right there to get a quicker way, depending on where you're coming from, getting to the Countryside.
But we've never seen any estimates or anything like that as far as anybody looking at that area from the city, right?
I don't think it was really one of the viable options that they were looking at, right? Even though
there may be some service problems, I don't know. You know what I mean?
Maybe infrastructure wise, I don't know.
Yeah, I
But
don't know.
again, they've already gone and appropriated the buildings.
Yeah,
Is that the word? Uh, they bought off a lot of buildings downtown,
yeah,
expropriated,
yeah. Well,
and
the big push is a cultural and arts event center, right? So they want everything in one sort of thing.
one
Your big
location.
library, your theater center's already there.
Yeah,
Everything. They want everything together.
they might even have a crosswalk going over Douglas there, or whatever it's called at that point, where Tom Davies Square is, going from the new event center to the hub, the
Yeah,
arts.
yeah. I'd like to see a drawing if they ever have one sometime of what their plan is, but we haven't heard that yet.
I've seen some preliminary drawings, and I'm all for having a new arena myself. Like, I'm baffled as to why it took us this long to get even to where we're at now. I just don't know
I think the
how.
talk was early 2000s was
Oh,
original talking. Yeah, even maybe into the 90s they were talking about it.
yeah.
But
So
yeah,
in some ways, I salute the city for actually going ahead and actually doing something instead of having cold feet and just always being stalled. So that's commendable
true. Yeah,
for a large in a large part. But at the same time, I have no problem hearing the other side as well. And let's say the costs aren't going to be 200 million. The costs are going to be, and I think they're going to be higher than that, because just inflation alone and
yeah.
tariffs, and you know what I
Didn't
mean?
Bob? Didn't the friends who were on Bob Johnson and say there's already a document saying it's going to be over 500 million? Isn't?
Well, that was their estimates, right? And they're going to be on again tomorrow,
Yeah,
reiterating that
yeah,
and maybe getting a little more detail. And the report they have is out there. A lot of people sharing it on social media and stuff, so people can actually read what their analysis is about the costs of the new event center.
yeah, yeah.
And I think it's worth somebody, but apparently they're making the claim that they're not being allowed to come into council and publicly state some of these things. They're not hearing back from the city, and they're getting,
Yeah. Well, the city is very structured, so you have to be on their agenda in order to speak. And of course, they're probably being shut out to be on anybody's agenda right now because they're trying to speak, you know,
mhm.
their opinions and what they believe is true. And
Yep.
and
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 like I
there's
said, I'm
there's a lot
conflicted
of truth to it. Yeah.
for
What's that?
sure. I'm conflicted with this whole thing because
Yeah, me too.
like I said, there's a whole side of me that says, okay, finally, let's just get this thing done. Let's just move on. And then at the same time, I'm like, well, okay, well, if it's
There's a
going to
lot of money.
cost, yeah, that much more money, it's like, well, at least we got to have that discussion. And why
Yeah.
can't the city just come out and say, yeah, actually, it's going to cost $500 million. It is what
Yeah.
it is. That's what's going to cost for a new
I
arena.
Yeah, like our provincial and federal governments come out with like
Yeah,
huge numbers on projects and budgets and things, and
for sure. And
the
why can't
city.
we get a sponsor? Why can't we get a sponsor for this arena? You see that at all over these different communities getting sponsors to sponsor the arena, naming rights, and that
Yeah,
brings
it
in
used to be
revenue.
common.
And
Like Inco, when they were going good for years, they helped build a lot of
for
structures in
sure.
the city and in the area.
But in
Coppercliff Arena and Curling Club and they were all built by Inco, right? Way back when.
exactly,
The old Stanley Stadium, and that was all built by Inco way back
yeah.
almost 100 years ago
And
now.
I don't know if people realize it, that was almost the size of the Sudbury Arena. That was
Stanley
huge,
Stadium, yeah. I was in
huge.
there once, yeah. Yeah, it was huge. I watched my cousin playing high school hockey in Stanley Stadium. Like it was a big thing.
So that was a fire that destroyed that. Apparently, I was talking with Tom about
No,
that. No,
no, the foundation floor. Apparently, somebody said later the structure was good. It was just the floor had heaved, and it was like the pipes and everything broke.
oh,
And
oh, okay,
yeah, had heaved from overuse use over. There was no underfloor heating at that time under the floor,
Okay.
and it just heaved up, and then they claimed like the foundation, so they had to tear it down. But then somebody said no, the structure itself was pretty good. It was just the floor that popped up because of frost,
Yeah, and that's the
permafrost.
thing. I've heard different reasons why they had to tear it down.
Yeah, it was
But
um, the old at that time uh, facility manager, I guess they had back then. His name was Wing. Last name was Wing.
oh, okay.
Rolly Wing.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's what happened. I started at an arena, small town arena, and he knew the fellow there and been talked to him off and on in between, and apparently
Was
uh,
his middle name Left or Right?
you're right wing, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, if you'll know, there's people in the area that know the Wings. There's two brothers, and one was the one Rolly Wing. He was the arena manager in Coppercliff at that time.
Yeah, so much great history in this city,
Yeah.
and I think that's why a lot of people don't want to see the arena
Yeah.
taken down, because it there's a lot of nostalgia with that, and there's a lot of people that want to see the old arena refurbished
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
That's true.
including my father-in-law, and very staunch wants to see that, because he doesn't like to see things. His point of view is, if it still works, why are you going to destroy something that still works? Kind of
Ain't
thing.
broke, don't change it. Yeah.
Kind of thing. And there's other things. I think there's nostalgia, but the one
Yeah.
thing they're going to have to look at is the wolf on the clothesline. Like,
the visiting teams always love that.
oh, again, right? And there's nostalgia. People who are from here, and I'm sure, I was a kid in Sault Ste. Marie, which is a little different than Sudbury, so I didn't have that bond with the taxidermied wolf that other, youngsters here in Sudbury would have.
Yeah.
I saw it maybe as a teenager more than, or almost an adult for the first time. And it's it's maybe nostalgic to some people here, but like you said, the visiting teams come in and they kind of laugh at it. It's meant, when Sudbury Wolves score, the taxidermied wolf squeaks out on the clothesline to, the Jumbotron, and then squeaks back. And, the other team, it's not, it's not, it doesn't instill fear in anybody, or,
No,
it's like,
it's a big joke. I mean, it has been for years like that. It was back into the late 70s, or just.
and that's the thing. We don't see it like that. We're like, no, we love the wolf. But again, why do we have, so we have to ask ourselves, why is it there? You know what I mean? So what is it there for? And,
It might be time to change. Yeah.
yeah, I think it's definitely time.
Think of something else other than the wolf coming out.
I think I can see a nice plexiglass, thing as you walk into the new arena, a plexiglass, whatever, with the wolf in there, kind of thing.
Have a hologram on the ice after every goal scored or something like that.
Kind of thing, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
So hopefully that happens. But again, we're going to have Bob and Tom on the show tomorrow. Mike Perrant, welcome anytime. Natalie Labby, welcome anytime on the show. As I've always said, I've never changed that. Totally
I
open.
look forward to them coming on, and
for sure. And any other counselor for that matter, and the mayor, anyone from the city, welcome to come on. And I'm not tough on people when they come on. I actually just allow them to share their story.
You're fair on both sides. Yeah.
Try to.
I remember when we, ourselves, we don't have the same opinion of something. We always talk civilly about it, and nobody goes walking away mad or anything like that. Right?
And I embrace the fact that people don't have the same opinion as me. I mean, that's the beauty. I learned so much from other people's points of view. I even when Zach was on the show the other day, he was like, no, I don't agree with that. I was like, okay, and now I'm excited to hear what his point of view is now. Okay, tell me, so that way I can, maybe get some other perspective from what I have. And it's
exactly.
It's a great thing to. So say hi to the little one for us. And
Okay, he doesn't need it anymore. Okay.
what's his name again?
His name is Kaysen.
Kaysen?
Kaysen, yeah, like Jason except with a K.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
What a cool name.
yeah.
That's
It's not spelled
awesome.
the same as Jason, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you guys have a safe morning and you're able to get them off to where you need to bring them. And
yeah.
thanks for being on this morning.
Well, thank you for having me on for sure.
Okay, so Miles, have a good one, and you're welcome anytime. You just have to text me, and you're welcome on the show.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, have a good one, Miles.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see you. That was Miles Shields, good friend of mine, and as you can see, had his hands full this morning, but did a really great job being on the show, and we had a really great conversation with all y'all. Thanks everyone for commenting. We didn't maybe get to a lot of things that we might have wanted to talk about. There's so many things to talk about. It doesn't end, but we'll have Tom and Tom Price and Bob Johnston on the show tomorrow talking about, some of their analysis on what the new arena might cost Sudburyans. And so tune in for that tomorrow. And until then, remember to stay aware, like, share, take care. We'll be back same time, same place on the same platforms, God willing. Stay tuned now for Earshot Daily on CKLU 96.7 FM. Have a wonderful, safe Tuesday, everyone. Ciao for now.